Hello, I'm here to talk about the term the Mozart effect. And the Mozart effect is a theory that when you're listening to classical music, the classical music will raise your IQ. And do you guys remember when the Pixar movie The Incredibles? And when Helen was calling Corey the babysitter, Corey was to check up on Jack. Corey was like, I wish my mom made me listen to classical music when I was a baby. Mozart makes babies smart, and then because of that, I always thought when you listen to Mozart when you're a baby, I thought it made me smarter. But then after researching all about it, it was actually false. And then my first point is that the Mozart effect was introduced to the public by Nature magazine in 1993. And in the same year, psychologist Frances Rosher, she conducted an experiment where she took 36 college students and she made them listen to Mozart symphony, for 10 minutes before making them take an IQ test. And after collecting the IQ test, she found out that each college student raised their IQ by an average of 8 to 9 points. And my second point is that the Mozart effect is not actually a Mozart effect. It's actually the enjoyment arousal, and the enjoyment arousal is when people the theory like the Mozart effect, people actually when they listen to familiar song they like, they enjoy the song and they start listening to every lyric and then they mouth every lyric. And because of that, because of listening to favorite songs like Bach's Cello Suite, Beethoven's Symphony 9, and Mozart's Ein Klein Notch music, they tend to remember more information. And then the Mozart effect, it got so popular to the point where the mayor in Georgia, he passed a law where he issued every infant like a special classical CD for them to listen, because he thought babies listening to classical music would make them smarter. But then, of course, 15 years went by, and there's a lot of research that the Mozart effect was actually really true. But then, Bonnie Ward Simon, she's a music editor and author. She said, it doesn't make them smart, but then instead of making them smart, it makes them develop their senses very well. And because of that, making your babies listen to instead of classical like jazz, it makes them develop their senses very well. And then it's not only classical music that make your babies the babies very smart. Like in the same 36 college student experiment, it was shown that not only classical music, but when the other college students listened to like their favorite songs or like country songs that they knew, it was shown that it had the same result. So not only classical music, but then other music that these college students are very familiar with. And then raise their IQ by 8 to 9 points. And then my 2 points are that it's not actually, first point is that the Mozart effect is not real. Like the theory that making your kids or any college student, like adult or younger, making them listen to classical music or any music is not true. It's gonna raise their IQ only temporarily, and then an hour later the effect is gonna wear out. And then the second point is that it's not actually the Mozart effect, but it's actually the enjoyment arousal, which is when you recognize a familiar song, and then you try to compose it in your head, and you start you recognize it, and because of that, people when they're taking an extra test, they tend to contain information more.
All right, Kathleen, I'm not sure at the beginning what your claim is. I guess your original proposition is that the Mozart effect is false, but it sounds like you've got 3 or 4 points that you rushed through, and you don't really numerically signpost each of them. I couldn't tell if that was a preview, if that's an explanation of what the argument is. I think that the big issue at the start of the speech is that there's not a lot of clarity about what your claim ultimately is. I know what the subject is, and I know generally what your attitude toward it is. I just don't understand why you didn't say it that way at the beginning, and then tell us what the points were that you were going to use to prove it. At the end of the speech, you have a very clear statement of what the points were. It's so much clearer when you're finishing up the speech than it was at the beginning of the presentation. So if you can do it at the end, it seems strange that you wouldn't do it at the beginning. And remember, I've mentioned this before, people are passive listeners. If they get lost, they'll just find something else to think about for a while, and they'll check back in at the end, hopefully. I think you rescue yourself a little bit at the end, but I think that it would behoove you to be more careful at the beginning and getting set up right to start with. On the evidence, I think that you summarize a lot of information. It doesn't always sound like direct quotes. Some information is factual data, the fact that a study was done, the fact that a mayor tried to attempt to get people to listen to classical music in a particular way. Again, I don't know where the research came from, but I do know, I don't doubt that those events took place, but you want to give us the source citations on that. You did have one counter researcher who basically came up with this other explanation, and you cited that person very clearly. And then after that, I don't know if what you've done is interpreted what she's said and then you keep repeating those points, or if there are other scholars who've said the same sort of thing. And so I think your information tends to run together a little bit as well. I suspect that you have a pretty good argument in here, but it needs to be turned into something that's more effectively communicated, and that's where the issues are in this presentation. All right, thank you.